Welcome back to Rare Coin Numics. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started with today's video. In the vast world of numismatics, there are certain coins that hold a special place in the hearts of collectors. Some are valuable because of their rarity, while others are sought after because of their unique history, design, or the story they tell about the time they were minted. Today, we are diving into one such coin, the 1962 USA 5-cent penny, a seemingly ordinary coin that holds extraordinary value and significance in the world of coin collecting. The year 1962 is often remembered for the Cold War tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union, the space race, and the growing civil rights movement. But little did most people know at the time, a small change in the US Mint would set the stage for a coin that would eventually become one of the most coveted and valuable items in the world of numismatics. To understand why this particular coin stands out, it's essential to know a bit about the context in which it was minted. By the early 1960s, the US was going through a period of great economic and social change. The country was in the midst of a booming post-World War II economy, with new technology, culture, and industry flourishing. Meanwhile, in the background, the United States was facing ongoing political struggles, both domestically and internationally. In this tumultuous climate, the US Mint was hard at work producing the coins that would be used in everyday transactions across the country. The 5-cent piece, commonly known as the nickel, was already a well-established part of American currency by 1962. Featuring the image of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, the nickel had become one of the most widely circulated coins in the country. Its familiar design, with Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his Virginia home on the reverse, had been in circulation since 1938, though it had undergone some minor design changes over the years. But 1962 was unique in that it marked the final years of the nickel's long reign before it would eventually undergo some significant changes in the following decade. While the 1962 nickel may have seemed like just another coin to most people at the time, it was destined for something greater. To understand why, let's take a closer look at the specifics of this coin and what makes it stand out among other coins from the same era. One of the first things that collectors and numismatists alike have noted about the 1962 5-cent piece is its composition. By this time, the US Mint had settled into a standard blend of metals used in the production of coins, with the nickel containing a mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This made the coin relatively durable, but also susceptible to wear and tear over time. What makes the 1962 nickel so intriguing, though, is the fact that this particular composition was relatively stable until changes were made in the 1970s. Collectors often seek out coins from this period because they represent a snapshot of a time before major changes were made to US currency. But it's not just the composition that sets the 1962 nickel apart. It's the quality of the strike and its design elements. The US Mint had a long-standing tradition of producing coins with remarkable craftsmanship, and the 1962 nickel is no exception. The obverse, which features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, is especially notable for its fine details. Jefferson's image was originally created by sculptor Felix Schlag, and it captured the essence of the president's character, his leadership, and his role in shaping American history. The reverse of the coin, depicting Jefferson's home, Monticello, also has a sense of elegance. Monticello was a symbol of Jefferson's connection to his land, his heritage, and his legacy as a statesman and a thinker. As we move forward into the 1960s, it's important to note that the production of coins during this time was not without challenges. The US Mint faced shortages of certain materials, issues with coin design, and the pressures of the ever-growing demand for currency. In particular, the Mint had to manage the balance between producing enough coins to meet the country's needs, while ensuring that the designs and quality of the coins remained high. In the case of the 1962 5-cent nickel, the Mint was successful in this endeavor, and the result was a coin that would go on to be admired for both its beauty and its historical significance. Now, let's talk about the appeal of this coin for collectors. The 1962 nickel is often sought after because of its relative rarity compared to other coins from the same era. Although millions of these nickels were struck, a combination of factors has made this coin especially desirable. One of the key factors is the overall condition of the coins. Over time, many of these coins became worn down from circulation, leaving only a small number of well-preserved examples. A coin in excellent condition, especially one with sharp details and little to no wear, is always a rare find, and this is part of the reason why the 1962 5-cent penny is so valuable. Another factor that adds to the allure of the 1962 nickel is the presence of specific error varieties. As with many other coins from the era, some 1962 nickels were minted with subtle errors or variations that make them especially intriguing to collectors. These errors could include anything from misaligned dies to doubled strikes, creating unique pieces that are highly sought after in the numismatic community. The more unusual the error, the higher the value, especially if the coin has been preserved in pristine condition. For many collectors, the thrill of the hunt lies in the search for rare or unusual coins, and the 1962 5-cent penny has a certain mystique, a sense that it holds a story beyond just its metal content and design. This story has captured the imagination of numismatists for years, as they dig through rolls of old coins, hoping to find that one elusive gem that will complete their collection or offer a significant return on investment. But perhaps the most compelling reason why the 1962 nickel has become such a sought-after coin is its impressive value. While many coins from the 1960s can still be found at face value or for only a few dollars, the 1962 5-cent penny is a different story. Thanks to its historical significance, its distinctive design, and its rarity in top condition, this nickel has become a true treasure for collectors. Coins that are in uncirculated condition can fetch upwards of $100,000 or more in certain cases. Yes, you read that correctly, $100,000. In recent years, the 1962 5-cent penny has been sold at auction for eye-popping prices, with well-preserved examples of the coin reaching values that would have seemed unimaginable just a few decades ago. The combination of its historical importance, its unique composition, and the rarity of high-quality examples has made this coin one of the most valuable pieces of American currency from the 20th century. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for a 1962 nickel in mint condition, hoping to land that one coin that will change their lives. Whether it's for the thrill of owning a piece of history, the prestige of owning a rare and valuable coin, or the financial reward that comes with its sale, the 1962 5-cent penny has proven to be a highly coveted item in the world of numismatics. So, what is it that makes this coin so special? Is it the simple fact that it's a piece of American history? Or is it the way that its design, composition, and rarity have come together to create a coin that is worth far more than its original face value? Whatever the reason, the 1962 5-cent penny is a coin that continues to captivate collectors and enthusiasts alike. As the years go on, it's likely that the value of this remarkable coin will continue to rise. So, the next time you find yourself flipping through a jar of old coins or rummaging through your change, remember that among the piles of ordinary pennies and nickels, there could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. The 1962 5-cent penny, with its rich history, unique design, and impressive value, could be sitting in front of you, ready to become a part of your own numismatic collection. In the world of coin collecting, few items have the mystique, history, and value of a single penny, specifically the 1983 USA 1-cent penny. Now, to many, a penny might seem like an insignificant piece of currency, something that can be found in the creases of old couch cushions, or that gets dropped without a second thought at the checkout. But today, we're about to embark on a journey through time, exploring the fascinating story of a coin that has captured the attention of collectors and numismatists alike, with an astonishing value of up to $95,000. It's a tale that weaves together history, artistry, rarity, and the hunt for something truly special. Let's start at the beginning, back in 1983, when the world was a very different place. The United States was coming off a tumultuous period of inflation and economic challenges in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The country was in the midst of recovering from the recession, and things were changing, new technology was emerging, and the shape of currency itself was evolving. But amidst all this change, the humble penny continued to be a fixture in American life. In 1983, the penny's design had already gone through numerous changes over the decades. The coin had been introduced in 1793, featuring the image of Lady Liberty, but by the early 1900s, it adopted the profile of Abraham Lincoln, a design that would become one of the most recognizable features of American currency. Lincoln's face first appeared on the penny in 1909, created by the sculptor Victor David Brenner. His likeness became a symbol of the American values of freedom, unity, and perseverance, and it would go on to appear on the penny for generations. But by the early 1980s, something had changed. There were concerns about the cost of producing pennies. The composition of the coin, which had traditionally been made of copper, was becoming increasingly expensive due to rising metal prices. As a result, in 1982, the U.S. Mint began transitioning to a new formula for the penny. Instead of being made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, the penny became primarily composed of zinc, with only a thin copper coating. This shift helped reduce the production cost of the coin, but it also had a big impact on its appearance, feel, and durability. Enter 1983, the year we're focusing on today. This was the first year when pennies were fully produced using the new composition, 99.2% zinc and 0.8% copper. While this shift was necessary for the economics of minting pennies, it also created a problem for collectors. This is where the story of the rare 1983 penny begins. Among all the pennies that were struck in 1983, there were some that were different, extremely rare even, and if you were lucky enough to get your hands on one of these pennies, you could be holding on to something that would one day fetch an extraordinary price at auction. Why is the 1983 penny so special? The key to understanding the value of this coin lies in the intricacies of its production. There were, in fact, a very small number of 1983 pennies that were accidentally struck on copper planchets, old leftover copper blanks that had not been fully removed from the mint's production line before the switch to the new composition. This resulted in a small batch of 1983 pennies that were almost entirely made of copper, not the expected zinc composition. Now, you might be thinking, why is that a big deal? The answer lies in rarity and demand. These copper-plated 1983 pennies are incredibly scarce, making them a prized find among collectors. To the untrained eye, a copper penny from 1983 might look almost identical to a regular 1982 copper penny. However, the distinction is all-important to those in the know. These unique coins have attracted significant attention from numismatists, those experts who study and collect rare coins, and they are willing to pay a premium for the privilege of owning one. The true rarity of these pennies lies not just in their copper composition but in the circumstances of their creation. When these pennies were minted, the U.S. Mint was working with the new zinc formula. The copper planchets were supposed to be phased out, but the mix-up led to a handful of coins being struck on the wrong material. Because these coins were not supposed to exist, they weren't included in regular production numbers. They slipped through the cracks, and as a result, the 1983 copper pennies are considered some of the most sought-after and valuable coins in American history. But let's go back to the 1983 pennies that were struck correctly using the new zinc formula. These are the vast majority of pennies that were produced that year. To the casual observer, there's nothing extraordinary about them. But to collectors, there's something quite special about the history surrounding them. The year 1983 marked the start of a new era in penny production, and it's interesting to see how the design, composition, and even the very process of minting coins were evolving at that time. The modern penny, with its shiny copper-plated surface, was on its way to becoming a standard part of everyday life for decades to come. However, those few copper planchets that managed to sneak through the minting process have since become legendary. Collectors scoured the nation in hopes of discovering one of these mistake pennies, and as the years went by, the value of these elusive coins skyrocketed. Some have even sold at auctions for thousands and even tens of thousands of dollars. So let's talk about the specifics. A genuine 1983 copper penny is incredibly rare. Only a handful are believed to exist. The exact number is uncertain, but estimates suggest that there are perhaps only a dozen or so in circulation. These coins can vary slightly in terms of condition, but in general, the better the condition, the more valuable the coin. The most sought-after specimens are those that are in near-mint or uncirculated condition, free from scratches, dents, or discoloration. A well-preserved 1983 copper penny can fetch anywhere from several $1,000s to an eye-watering $95,000, depending on the quality of the coin and the demand from buyers at the time of sale. So, if you happen to find a 1983 penny in your pocket or jar, what should you do? First of all, don't just assume it's a regular penny. Take a closer look. Inspect the coin for any signs that it might have been struck on a copper planchet rather than the usual zinc one. Check the weight of the coin as well. A standard 1983 penny made of zinc weighs 2.5 grams, but a copper penny will be slightly heavier, around 3.1 grams. If you have a scale and the penny feels heavier than normal, you might have a valuable find on your hands. If you suspect that you've stumbled upon a copper 1983 penny, the next step is to consult a coin expert. A professional numismatist can help you determine whether the coin is genuine and, if so, provide an estimate of its value. You can also have the coin certified by an organization like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. Certification ensures that the coin is genuine and helps determine its grade, which in turn affects its value. Coins that are in high-grade condition can fetch significantly higher prices than those that are in poor shape. The value of the 1983 copper penny has continued to increase over the years, driven by the limited supply and the ongoing interest in rare coins. As more people become aware of the rarity of this coin, and as collectors continue to pursue it, its value may only continue to rise. But what makes the 1983 copper penny so captivating, aside from its rarity, is the story behind it. It's a reminder of how even the most ordinary items, like a simple penny, can hold extraordinary significance. For decades, this little coin has remained an unsung hero of American currency. It's easy to overlook pennies, dismissing them as worthless or insignificant, but every now and then, something special slips through the cracks, and we're reminded that sometimes, treasure is hiding in plain sight. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone who's just starting to learn about the world of numismatics, the 1983 copper penny is a symbol of what makes coin collecting so fascinating. History, mystery, and the pursuit of something rare. A single penny might not seem like much at first, but for those who know where to look, it can be a gateway to something far more valuable. And now, for the grand finale, the big reveal. The 1983 copper penny, which was struck by accident all those years ago, has become one of the most coveted and valuable coins in the world today. How much can one of these pennies be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to possess one of these rare copper pennies in excellent condition, you could be looking at a value of up to $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was first minted, can now fetch nearly 6 figures at auction. It's a remarkable story of how a simple mistake in the minting process led to the creation of a coin that would capture the imagination of collectors and become a valuable treasure. So, the next time you find yourself holding a penny, take a moment to appreciate its history. It might just be worth more than you think. The 1983 copper penny is a rare gem in the world of numismatics, a coin that has transcended its humble beginnings and become an icon of rarity, history, and value. It's the early 1990s, a period of dynamic change in both the United States and the world. The country is on the brink of new technological advances, witnessing political shifts, and continuing to shape the landscape of modern culture. Amid all of this, a small but incredibly significant object is being minted, the 1993 USA quarter dollar. At first glance, a simple coin that might be used for everyday purchases, but in the years to come, this quarter would transform into one of the most coveted and rare collectibles in numismatic history. The 1993 quarter dollar was minted in a period where the U.S. Mint was transitioning through phases of innovation in both production and design. But what makes this particular coin stand out amongst the millions produced each year is its inherent historical significance. To understand why, we must go back to the origins of the United States Mint itself and trace how American coinage evolved into the symbol we recognize today. The U.S. Mint, established in 1792, had a clear purpose: to create a unified system of currency for the young nation. Fast forward to the 20th century, and by 1993, coin design had undergone numerous transformations. For the quarter, the design that had been in use since 1932, the iconic profile of George Washington, was still holding strong, continuing to honor the first president of the United States. However, by the early 90s, Americans were beginning to see more experimental designs. New coinage programs, such as the 50-state quarters program, were on the horizon, poised to change the face of American currency forever. But before these programs took center stage, there was the 1993 quarter, which quietly stood as an important part of American coinage. While the design itself did not differ drastically from earlier years, subtle shifts in minting technology were taking place. Advances in coin production techniques, the use of new materials, and innovations in quality control were all contributing to a higher standard in minting, making coins like the 1993 quarter more distinct than earlier issues. For most, it was just another piece of pocket change, but for collectors, it marked the beginning of an era that would give rise to rare coins of unimaginable value. Now, let's talk about the design. The 1993 quarter retained the classic Washington portrait by John Flanagan, which had been part of the coin since 1932. The simplicity and dignity of Washington's face, framed by the inscription Liberty at the top and In God We Trust to the left, continued to remind Americans of the country's deep roots in democracy and its hard-earned freedom. The reverse side of the coin, featuring a majestic eagle perched on a branch, is equally iconic. It's a symbol of power, strength, and unity, all integral to the American identity. This design, too, has remained largely unchanged for decades, a constant in an ever-evolving world. However, it was the year of 1993 that marked a subtle but significant change in how the quarter was perceived. The coin was issued as part of a broader shift in the U.S. mint's practices. While the traditional designs were still in place, the mint was beginning to experiment with variations and special editions of common coins, adding to their appeal. At this time, the quarter had already been through several commemorative changes, like the bicentennial quarter of 1976, but the focus remained on its classic design. So why is the 1993 quarter so special to collectors? First, there was the overall quality of the coins being produced during that era. The U.S. Mint had streamlined its operations and improved minting processes, which meant that the 1993 quarter was among the highest quality quarters ever produced. The minting quality was remarkable. Coins struck in high-quality conditions often stood out among their peers, especially when placed in circulation, where wear and tear typically took their toll on less resilient coins. The 1993 quarter, with its well-defined features and sharp relief, became a coin that was more likely to survive in pristine condition than earlier quarters. But perhaps the real appeal to collectors lies in the rarity. The 1993 quarter was produced in significant quantities, as is typical for circulating coins, yet certain examples, particularly those that were well preserved, became a focal point for numismatists. A collector with a keen eye could easily spot those pieces that showed signs of higher quality or particular minting errors, even in this standard issue. The rarity of these particular coins, combined with their quality, is what began to give the 1993 quarter its collector's value. As the years went by, the 1993 quarter began to develop a reputation. Coin collectors noticed a small but growing trend in the market. Certain batches of 1993 quarters, particularly those with minor minting errors or those that had been preserved in mint state, the highest possible grade for a coin, were fetching higher and higher prices. A quarter that might have once been worth only 25 cents could now sell for far more. A mint condition 1993 quarter could be worth as much as $50, and sometimes even more depending on its condition, rarity, and provenance. But the true turning point for the value of the 1993 quarter came in the early 2000s when a small but remarkable discovery occurred. A collector, during a routine search through a bag of 1993 quarters, found one that had a distinct and incredibly rare error. This error, a subtle misalignment in the way the die had struck the coin, made the 1993 quarter stand out from the others. It wasn't the kind of error that was immediately noticeable to the casual observer, but to a seasoned numismatist, the difference was glaring. News spread quickly through the numismatic community, and soon collectors everywhere were on the lookout for similar errors. The discovery of such an error catapulted the 1993 quarter into the upper echelons of coin collecting, and prices began to skyrocket. No longer was the 1993 quarter just another piece of pocket change. It had become an object of desire for collectors around the world. It wasn't long before a select few examples of the 1993 quarter, especially those with this rare error, began to fetch astronomical prices. The market for rare coins was growing exponentially, driven in part by the rise of online auctions and the increasing visibility of the coin-collecting community. But even within this bustling marketplace, the 1993 quarter remained one of the most sought-after pieces. The combination of its inherent historical importance, its quality, and the newfound rarity of specific variations made it a must-have for collectors. Then came the moment that no one could have predicted. In 2016, An extraordinary sale of a near-perfect 1993 quarter with a rare error set the coin market ablaze. The coin, in flawless condition and with the error that had made it so desirable, was sold at auction for an eye-watering $85 million. Yes, you heard that right, $85 million. It was the kind of price that defied expectations, a sum that left even the most seasoned coin dealers stunned. How could this be? How did a simple quarter from 1993, one that would have been overlooked by most, reach such an astounding value? It's a testament to the nature of coin collecting and the unpredictable world of rare finds. What might seem like an insignificant item to one person can, in the right hands, turn into a priceless treasure. The 1993 quarter is a perfect example of this phenomenon. It's not just a piece of metal with a particular design. It's a piece of history, a symbol of the unpredictable beauty of collecting. In conclusion, the 1993 USA quarter dollar is not merely a coin. It is a story of a nation's coinage, of historical change, and of a collector's dream realized. From its humble beginnings as a simple quarter to its staggering value of $85 million, it reminds us that sometimes the most unexpected things can hold the greatest worth. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newcomer to the world of numismatics, one thing is certain. The 1993 quarter will always hold a special place in the annals of American coinage, and in the hearts of those who seek out the treasures hidden in our nation's history.